What up, people? Welcome to the Joe McFo Show. We are going to get going on another live stream where we're working on the comic. Today, I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little out of it. Not because I'm sick, but because it was daylight savings and I'm just kind of like, kind of feeling strange. But hopefully that doesn't affect the drawing at all. So we're going to do our best to create as much as possible and to do as well as possible. So I'm gonna get the stream going, and I also gotta get the TikTok set up together. So give me one moment. I'm gonna set the stream up over here. All right, and I believe the last time we were working on some of these panels over here. So I took some time after the stream to continue working on these guys over here. So I think this panel, as far as the characters go, they're pretty much ready to be inked. Obviously, I have to do the background too, but this one's looking pretty good. I also did some more finishing touches on this one, although I think I might need to adjust some of the arms here on Javen. But we're continuing to move forward. So I'm gonna work on this one next. I think this one is it's going to be pretty similar to this one in terms of scale and size, but we're just going to make a couple of adjustments. Obviously, this one's at a Dutch angle. Kathy's on. Hello, Kathy. Manette's on. Hello, hello. And then Kathy says spring forward is rough. Yeah, it can be. I actually heard somewhere that on daylight savings, especially on the spring forward day, is when you see the most car crashes because so many people have lost an hour of sleep. And so, yeah, it's pretty serious, and why they still do it, I do not know. That is not my department of expertise, but it's all right. Yeah, I heard that from our boy Doug Batchelor, actually. Believe it or not. All right, so let's keep going with this one. So we got our Dutch angle, which is pretty much consistent here. Let's so I'm gonna have to do a grid for this one, and I don't know, it might be too intensive a rotation, so let me see. Yeah, it's definitely skewed a certain way, but how do I rotate this? No, not that one. More subtle Dutch angle because it's not that intense. I think the intensity of the Dutch angle depends on the intensity of the scene. So because we're not trying to do something really crazy, I think that's probably better. Kathy says, "Oh, that's right. I heard Arizona or parts of it didn't subscribe to that. That's interesting. I miss living in a state that doesn't do daylight savings. Arizona. Oh, I didn't realize that. That's cool." I think 3 or 4 states don't observe it. I'm not sure what the other ones are. I'm curious. Can someone look that up? Which states don't observe daylight savings? I'm very curious now. All right, let's move forward with this. So we have characters right here, and oh, you know, I probably should do the grid first. Now that I think about it, let me add a layer for my perspective ruler, and I think I'll just keep it to 1 point perspective. Realistically, honestly, pretty much every drawing is kind of like a 2 point perspective if you look at it realistically, but we're going to keep it simple for today. All right, and then get this to be nice blue. Go. This is what I love about the perspective ruler. It just makes things so much easier. So we got our guide, and then this is a sketch we can use as a reference. And actually, the floor is probably yeah, it's fine. Does this even have anything? Nope, that has nothing on it. Alright, here we go. So let me pull up the characters. So early on this page, these characters are facing each other here, and then I've always kind of imagined that one character is kind of walking away from the other. So yeah, we're gonna just have them both facing the camera, and we're gonna see what happens. Let me turn off the grid here. Manette says, looks like it's actually just Hawaii and Arizona. Oh, okay. Those are so randoms. Both on the West Coast, I guess. Well, is Hawaii technically? I mean, I know Hawaii's on the West Coast, but I don't think of it the same way as like LA / California. I wanted to be facing me straight on, so it's gonna have a hand like this. This hand will probably be more foreshortened. The U.S. territories also do not observe daylight savings. Ah, okay, interesting. I didn't know idea. It's getting warm now. For some reason, now that I started drawing, I gotta get the jacket off. All right. Might need a reference for this one, but we'll see. And then I'm going to have this other character. I'm going to draw him. He's still got his hand in his pockets. Honestly, I probably could copy it from this panel. You know what? Let's just do that for a source of reference, because we're here to work smarter, not harder. And I already did the work, so I'm just going to copy this one over. Oh, and the cat's here. Oh boy. You guys get to see, at least on YouTube, you guys can see Yasha, our lovely little cat over here. So, yes, that means it is a hydration check. So everyone knows when the cats show up in the office space, then you drink water. Gotta stay hydrated. Gotta stay hydrated. Alright, he'll probably be there for the rest of the stream, realistically. And it says, so now I'm wanting to go down the rabbit hole of why the Navajo Nation in Arizona still observes when the rest of the state doesn't. Go on it and let us know what you find, because I'm curious now. Okay, here we go. So let me scale these down a little bit. This is more for scale than anything else. Because like I said, I've already done the work. I already drew the thing. There's only so many ways to have characters walking down an alleyway. And then I think I'm gonna pull out my little graph. Let's see. Our characters. Okay. There we go. This is my simple way to make sure all my characters are consistent. I have these lines here for my 8.5 canon characters. Are Kaoru and Enzi gone by this point? The way I envision it is, I mean, they're gone from the story, but they're not necessarily gone from the area. So by this point, they have finished the big task of the comic. This is like the second to last spread right here. And Salam, who is going to be this character over here, pulls his cousin Javen, this character over here, to the side, and they're kind of walking down the alleyway. So that's kind of the way I've envisioned it. And so, yeah, we're just doing it like that. Alright, and then we have, let's see, actually. see if I can get the scale right. Because technically speaking, that's there. Lynette says, so they observe to remain on the same time as the Diné communities in Utah and New Mexico. Oh, okay. That's really cool. The Navajo Nation extends into Utah and New Mexico. You know, I think I remember seeing that when we were driving cross country. I remember seeing a lot of references to that. This over here. Let me turn this one off. Alright, I'm starting to get a little lost in my design, but I think we're figuring it out. Alright. Alright, so we got this character, and the top of his hair is basically the hairline, so let's say the hairline is here, and that means this character is going to be like roughly here at this point, but he's going to be maybe a step forward or two. And so now we're looking at something like this. Okay. Just had to do a little perspective trickery there just to make sure the scale was correct, but I was pretty close. I was pretty close already. Here. So we're starting off at the base of where this character is. Nothing special at all about him. So we're gonna have to do a lot of work on these. Thank you guys who are liking the video. Appreciate y'all. Working on comics today. And right now we're just kind of getting the foundation of this panel. That's not what I meant. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna worry about the character in the foreground first, just because he's gonna be closer, meaning he will probably have more details. So let's worry about that. For those who are curious, who have not seen the characters before, the character I'm working on is going to be this guy right here with the green and purple. His name is Zalam. He's one of the main characters of the project, and so I'll be designing him. And then this character is the smaller character in the panel. His name is Javen. He's the main character of this entire thing. So let's see what we can do. Thankfully, they're not doing anything super action-packed in this. They're kind of just walking. So that makes my life a little bit easier. I'm probably going to have my character's hands in his pockets or something close to it. Annette says, interesting, from maps I found, the Hopi tribe had their land within the Navajo land, but Hopi also do not practice daylight savings. Huh. Okay. The plot thickens, it seems. Okay, from this, oh, let me see. I think I have this scaled incorrectly. There's always an ugly face to the drawing, and this is probably this is where the legs begin. There we go. Let's move forward a little bit. Make that a little darker. Since we're a little underneath this character, we'll probably see the underside of his chin. Okay, and then the center of his chest right here. Just belly button. Half his body is about 4.5 heads, so that's why I have this little measuring stick, I guess you could say. There we go. And based on how I drew this character, probably do something like this. A little bit of foreshortening in these arms because they're going back in space a bit. Oh, Megan's on. What's up? Hello, Joe McFo fam. What's going on, Megan? Hey, Mallard. Hello, hello. Thank you for coming on the stream. We're doing a dual stream. For those who are confused, I am doing TikTok and YouTube, but my internet speed is not strong enough to do both on the same device. So we're doing one on my phone, one on the computer. So it's a little ghetto, but that's all right. We're still able to communicate. I'll read the comments out loud for you guys. You guys can enjoy. Okay. And then, let's see. Somewhere around here. It's gonna be the foot. It's probably gonna be up like this. I'm not worried about doing a pretty drawing just yet. I try and allow myself to have an ugly stage when it comes to doing this for at least a little bit, because I don't think my drawings are that bad when they're cleaned up, but they always gotta start with with this. Maybe one day I'll graduate to the point where this stage isn't needed. I know some artists who are able to do that. That is not me. So let's see. That's 3, 4. And then the heels probably come back out this way. And realistically, since we're kind of looking down him, I might lengthen these legs just a little bit, just for the illusion. Got any tips on drawing a character? Cormac asked. Yeah, a lot of tips. First is, I think studying anatomy is number one. It's hard to draw a character, especially because most characters are based on human anatomy. Now, of course, you have like Simba or characters who are clearly animals, but generally, even they are based off of the anatomy of the character that they're designing. So, number one, learn anatomy for sure. And then also you need to think about storytelling. When a lot of people, when they think of character design as a phrase, here I'll share this with you. So I'm gonna write down this word or phrase. Character design, since this is what we're talking about, right? Most people are so focused on the design part. They're so focused on the visuals and how to get this character to have a cool outfit or a cool hairstyle or something like that. but they totally forget that it's a character. And so what happens is they design all these cool elements that could work very well, but because they don't know who this character is, they could end up having a character design that doesn't actually fit. So you have to know who the character is intimately. You have to understand where they're from, their age, their culture, their occupation, their belief system, as much as you possibly can about these characters, because that's the best way to get your story across. And I would say that is probably the most important thing about understanding character design, is understanding your character. All the other stuff like shape language and what else? Big, medium, and small shapes, and those principles of design are all important and essential. But I think that having that understanding first is the most important step to designing a character. Let's see. Megan says China has one time zone, even though the country spans 5 geographical time zones. That's crazy. Malice says, don't beat yourself up. Most artists are still in the wishing phase of their dream project. You're literally halfway there. Oh, thank you, man. I wish I was halfway there, but we're at least starting. And no, I'm not trying to beat myself up too much when I say that. I just mean like I mentioned it earlier in the stream, but I'm kind of feeling out of it because of daylight savings. That's why we talking about it in the chat. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I took a nap. I had to take a nap today. We were passed out on the couch earlier, and we're just like, oh my gosh, what is life? So had to do it. But no, I'm not ashamed of what I'm making, especially on a day like today. I'm going to make it a point to not be as hard on myself as I normally would be for today, just because. Awesome, thanks. Love your work, by the way. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you have any other questions, and that goes for everybody, any other questions related to storytelling, character design, please let me know. I love to answer these types of questions, because chances are I've also had them before. So yeah. Oh, did I just delete this? Oh, darn it. I think I accidentally deleted a layer that I needed. Whoops. Well, that sucks. All right, let's copy this over. We're going to change this up, and there we go. Megan says, can we just note how far you've come with the cipher, though? That is true. The cipher is come very far. Actually, here, you guys can see where we're coming. I think I took all the text off. Yeah, so this is where we are. Let me change it up for the TikTok crew, because y'all are only seeing like half the page right now. So we've been making this one shot. I've dubbed it a cipher, based on a hip hop cipher, for my own reasons, but it's basically 23-ish, 24 pages, something like that. So this is what we got. Done all this stuff and basically redrew most of the panels in here, and it's come a long way. It's probably the furthest I've gotten on a single project like this before. So it's really exciting. So I'm thankful, and I'm excited about it. Still lots to do. Obviously got to ink it all and color it all, but I think probably the longest phase is coming to a close. The penciling phase is definitely the longest, because that's where all the planning happens, to me at least. There's obviously the inking, which takes a while too, but it's going to be a lot faster, especially since the way I penciled it, it's pretty clean, which is just a personal preference of mine. So I don't imagine it will take me too long to ink something like this. And the colors are going to be handled by Megan, so I think that'll also benefit us greatly. All right, now let me get this scaled properly. All right, so the head is actually going to be about this size. Malice says, I need my hour back, please. You know what? I wish I could do that. we could all write a nicely, strongly worded email to the White House, and maybe old boy can help us out. Highly doubtful, but we could try it. We could say we tried. What's the phrase? Nothing beats a fail but a try. I want to make sure I didn't miss any other questions on TikTok. I just realized. All right. Yeah, so we got this character here. Realistically, I don't think this is the proper body language for this character right here. I don't think he's standing straight up necessarily. But I do need to understand how his body's going to be proportioned, because that's going to be essential. And that's for every panel, right? Okay, so in this panel, he's probably realistically going to be like shrugging his shoulders or something. Because he's asking a deep, important philosophical question about the state of the world, the political and economic state of the world, just like Jaden Smith. And so he's got to have his shoulders shrugged. Realistically, he's probably got his hands out like this. Let's see. Get those roughs out of here. This, I'm gonna save that for later. Got those. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Amaris is late, but here. Hello, Amaris. Thank you for coming on to the stream, and that's okay. That I figured that today would be a weird day for people because of daylight savings, especially because we're so used to it being like dark outside, and now it's suddenly light. Like I still see the sunset, and especially for people in other countries. I don't know where everyone's watching from, but I imagine people like Mark, if he comes on. Will be like, I thought it was earlier, I thought it was later, you know. My dog wanted to stay in the rain. It was a fight to get him in. Oh geez, yeah, dogs love the rain. Dogs love the rain. But I hate that dogs love the rain because they always smell terrible. I've never smelled a dog who had recently been wet and was delighted by what I smelled. It's never once happened. Even with their, you know, their fancy shampoos and everything, it's never once happened to me. My sister's doing okay. She's out of the hospital. We both got hurt, but doing better. I'm glad you guys are doing better. I know that you guys have had it rough the last couple of times you've spoken. She's not allowed to roller skate. Ooh, like forever? Or just for a little while? Roller skating is fun. I haven't done it in a long time, but I remember it being fun. Anyone ever see the movie Roll Bounce from 2005? It has Bow Wow and Nick Cannon and Sean McBride. I used to love that movie. Yeah, that was my jam. I would literally roller skate in the house, and we had carpet. Just because I wanted to get the extra practice. Because I would watch what they would do, and I would try to imitate it. But I had to imitate on the carpet. Because we had no other option. You can't watch the movie from the window, you know? That would... Well, actually, realistically, I probably could, but we had one of those giant TVs that took like 8 men to move, so I couldn't really reposition the TV at 10 years old to watch a movie just to skate for an hour. Oh, ever. She's not allowed to roller skate ever. She crashed into me and I hurt my back and she hurt her wrist, so we all agreed no skates for her. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry to hear that. Yeah, roller skates can definitely be scary if you're not doing it right. All right, let's see. I think I'm actually gonna move this arm in a bit. This arm is definitely a little too long. I'm gonna have to do another cleanup layer for these because I want to get the anatomy strong. That's the one thing that takes me a while with these characters. Is not only are they pretty anatomically specific, but they're also stylized. And so getting a specific anatomy for stylized characters like this can be a challenge, especially because it's new characters that I created and designed, and I don't have all the specific rules that a regular animation studio or comic studio might have. And so I'm making some of this stuff up as I go. Mara says she was talking on the phone when it happened, not paying attention. We keep saying skating. Skating, not. Wait. We keep saying skating, not something to be on phone and watch your surroundings. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Has anyone ever been to Venice Beach and done the skating there? There's this little section where they have a skating area for people who do skateboarding and stuff. They have a lot of festivals, but there's also a section for people who want to roller skate, and they always have music playing from like the 70s, like Motown era, or even sometimes in the 80s. And it is so much fun to watch. I've never actually been a part of it. When I had my skates, I was maybe like 10, and I was a little too shy to go up in a place like that and just expose myself to being seen on my skates, even if I was pretty good, and I wasn't that bad, honestly. The two things I couldn't figure out very well was how to turn right and go backwards. I could not figure those out because I'm left-handed, as you guys can all see, and I could not figure out how to do that. How to turn right, I mean. Hey, what's up, Preston? How's it going, buddy? Mara says, by the way, I'm making my wedding cosplay dress, because why not? Wait, you're making a cosplay dress for your wedding? What are you going to be? Or who are you going to be, rather, I guess is the grammatically correct way to say it. Just making supper. Okay, cool. Man, I sometimes forget that there's certain southern words I'm not used to. I've only heard supper like in TV shows, or when people refer to like the Last Supper, for example. But I've never actually said get ready for supper. I understand it, but it's just different. I don't even know if that's a cultural difference. I think it's just a geographic difference. But I guess it's cultural, but not quite the same as, two different ethnicities or something like that. Sammy's already feeling better. All right, and then this one, I believe I want to have his foot pointing up, so his heel's kind of seeing a little bit of the bottom of his heel, but how can I communicate that? Lamar says Princess Serenity, or maybe do Pokemon Gajinka of Sylvia. Okay, you laughed. Did I say that right? Okay, thank you. Yeah, I have my my producer over here correcting whenever I say something wrong. But Princess Serenity, I don't know who that is though.
Sailor Moon.
Oh, that's literally Sailor Moon? That's her name? Sort of. Okay. Clearly, I've watched plenty of Sailor Moon, so I know exactly who you're talking about. Wellington says, I'm gonna watch this instead of drawing for myself. You know what? I appreciate that. That's really cool, man. Preston says, that's my country talk. That is your country talk. Country talk. I've been trying to work on my Texas accent, but everyone says I do it wrong. And out of respect for my producer / wife, I won't attempt to do it on live, because one day I'm gonna get in trouble online and someone's gonna use it as a form of blackmail or something. So I'm not gonna do it. Kathy, the producer. You like that, Megan? I mean, she kind of is. She's sitting in the back, making sure I don't say anything too crazy. You could hear her laughing because she knows it's all true. Megan's like, do both. both being watch the stream and draw for yourself. Oh yes. So you hear that? Megan on YouTube is saying watch the stream and draw for yourself, and I don't mind. I that's kind of one of the things that I think is really cool, is when you watch a live stream of someone doing art and you draw yourself. So yeah, and for those who are coming on, feel free to ask any questions about the project or about character design or storytelling. Between myself, my producer, and all the other people watching, I'm sure we can come up with some good answers for you. This foot is not right at all. He's turning this foot like he's about to spin. Let's see. Kathili says, so when would you wear these cosplays? And then Toasty Shrimp says, producer plus live audience reaction. Yes! I need to get one of those signs that they used to have back in the day for shows that were taped, and it would be like applause, and it'd be like say this, like make this sound. I think we should have that. Although hopefully there's no like boo-hoos, but usually there's always like a oh. And then there's always this specific laugh I heard in TV shows whenever it was a comedy, and there's always someone who's like doing this kind of high-pitched laugh. I don't know what that is, but I heard it in every show. I heard it in like Drake and Josh. I heard it in every show in like the 2000s. Like I heard it in Drake and Josh. I heard it in like iCarly. I heard it in what other shows would I watch that had soundtrack? I think I heard it in Friends one time. Like it was just weird. And I was like, what is this track? Who is this guy who insisted on being first in line? So yeah. Preston says, I had a blast this weekend. Oh, good. I'm glad you had a blast. I spent some quality time with my cousin Addison on Sabbath after church. Nice, man. That's good stuff. I'm happy to hear that. think I made my guy just a little too skinny. It's a leftover from a previous version of the design. I want him to be lean, but not missing a meal, if that makes sense. She's going to Florida this week. Oh, that's cool, but maybe you shouldn't tell that sort of personal information on the internet like that. Like you already named who it is, and where they're going. Maybe keep that one close, bro. But I'm glad that you guys had a good time. Manette says like in Shrek at Farquaad and Fiona's wedding. Yo, I forgot all about that one. I haven't seen Shrek in so many years. It's been a long time. Okay, I think I might actually pull back Javen's character just a little bit, because I want it to feel like he's kind of walking on without him. So let's just see. There we go. And hopefully there's not too much of a tangent. Wellington says, not starved, just hungry. Is that what you're going for? / heavy joke. No, not really. I guess what I meant was whenever you're drawing anatomy, there's different ways to consider the figure. So there's especially when someone's on the smaller side, so it could be someone who would be, I guess you consider them skinny, but there's also people who are more lean and muscular. There's people who are you know, like actually starving. Like there's a wide range of someone of saying like, oh, someone who's just skinny. So when I first designed the character, he was a little smaller as far as his size goes. He was his arms were much thinner because I was going for a certain look, and I realized that I don't think I really wanted him to have that look exactly. So so that's kind of what I'm referring to. But no, I'm not trying to make a insensitive weight joke. That's not my goal. Okay, let's actually need to have him looking here. So let's put his center line there. Preston says that I went to a party that my old friend Danny was throwing for his friend. Cool. I would have found it funny nonetheless. Okay, cool. You know, I never know what people's reaction is going to be when I joke around, because half the times I forget what I say in streams. Like, people go like, remember when you said this? I'm like, I said that? Really? And they're like, yeah, we talked about it for like 10 minutes. I'm like, really? So my mind is pretty much in the phase of art and drawing. Let me see. Cathedral says, it's been a while since I've seen Shrek 2, and I've also only seen the first 2 movies. Honestly, the third one was not that memorable. I feel like did Shrek the Third have like King Arthur or something in it? I can't remember. Who has seen the third Shrek movie and remembers? Because I don't remember much of it. Amar says, okay, then I'll do both at my wedding, most likely, because I'm that person. I wore a wedding dress to prom, and it branded me for life. Yeah, that is pretty significant. Wearing a
on brand for me.
On brand for oh, I thought it said brand you for life. Oh, never mind. My bad. Thank you, producer. I'm gonna have to get you a shirt now. Producer shirt. She said yes. I think she's been vying for this position. First we got married, now she's like, but the ultimate is the producer. It's the ultimate title. Manette says, last week I picked up a 12-year-old client, and first thing she says to me, do you know Shrek? And I was kind of in shock, because like I was in 5th or 6th grade when it came out. Of course I know Shrek. Yeah, you know what? It's funny, because so when I do character design lessons or talks with kids, I have to pull from a lot of different sources to explain different points. And one of the characters that I would pull from is Cosmo from the Fairly Odd Parents or the Powerpuff Girls. And it started to dawn on me that it is much more common for these kids to not know who those characters are. And I realized a lot of it's because they were from TV shows. And so the movie characters are the ones that go across generations. Like Up, for example, everyone knows Up. Everyone knows Carl and Russell and what was the guy's name? The villain? I don't remember the villain's name, but they all know him. They all know Doug. They all know Kevin, the giant bird, but they don't know Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, or Samurai Jack, or whoever. I actually had to change a presentation that I did a few weeks ago to include K-pop Demon Hunters and Demon Slayers specifically for these young kids, and they got excited when they saw them. And I think I might have included Bluey in there once or twice too. But yeah, things just changed. Cormac says the third is King Arthur. Okay, so yes, I was right. I was right. Man, when did I even watch the movie? I must have watched the movie in like 2011 or something. One time when I was sleepy and I didn't really care for it. Okay, so we got the legs. And like I said, he's probably going to be hunched over or something, so I might actually move his head over and at least just kind of bend his neck a bit. He's kind of, I don't want to say reaching out to him because that sounds a little weird when you're doing it with the neck. Let's see, in the grand scheme of things, how's it looking? Not too bad. Not too bad. I feel like this is a solid spread. Got a couple of medium close-ups. Got some more extreme close-ups. One wide shot. Yeah, it's pretty good. And since this is my first foray into comics, I'm sure I'll get much better with paneling later on. But, yeah, this is what we got so far. His hands kind of open like this. And maybe even because he's in his dialogue, he's saying what happened back there. So I'm gonna have him kind of point his thumb out like a little hitchhiker. Little wider. There we go. Alright, then let's save because we all know what happens to people who don't save their stuff. The first lesson I ever learned about saving was I was 10 years old and our school let us use laptops for stuff, and my battery died on the charger, and or when it wasn't on the charger, and I went to plug it back in after a few minutes and the thing was gone. Whatever I was working on was gone. They're like, Jordan, didn't you save it? And I was like, no, I only save it at like the end. And they're like, Jordan, you're supposed to save it like all the time. I was like, what do you mean? You want me to click the save button like every 4 sentences? And they're like, yes. And I was like, oh, okay. So I lost whatever I was typing, but I learned that lesson. Gotta hit save a bunch. Oh, there's a couple comments I missed. Let's see. Manette says, one of my favorite things working RTF. What is RTF? I don't know what that means. Was movie nights, and I'd have the kids watch classics like Emperor's New Groove, Fern Gully, Quest for Camelot, then completely traumatize them with The Land Before Time. Yo, that's unhinged. Why would you do that? Oh my gosh. I agree with the classics, especially Emperor's New Groove. You gotta start them off with the funnies, with the comedy. Amara says, design a Spider-Man crochet blanket pattern for my mom, and she's excited to test the pattern. Oh, that's cool. Residential treatment facility. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so I think that is a hydration check because Spider-Man was brought up. That is 2 for the day because the first one was seeing Yasha. Actually, it says, did Yasha come and leave hair on their pillow? Wait, what? Who's there? You talking about? Who's there? You mean my pillow? I'll answer that in a second. Speaking of Shrek, many people don't give Shark Tales its flowers. That movie has so much soul. Wait, Shark Tale, is that the one with Will Smith? Ah, yeah, I don't remember that movie very well. How is Fern Gully less traumatizing than Land Before Time? That's a great question. I don't think I've ever seen Fern Gully. I think I've seen a Nostalgia Critic review of it, but I don't think I've actually seen the movie. But to answer your question, Megan, does Yasha come and leave hair on their pillow? I mean, I can only answer the question based on what I understand that you're saying, because I'm not sure what you're referring to. He's not allowed on my pillow at all, like under any circumstances. So he does not leave hair on my pillow. So yeah. I don't think anyone's mom died in Fern Gully. Yeah, I don't remember what Fern Gully is about. Is that the one with the weird, like, what was he?
That weird, like, goop monster voiced by Tim Curry, I think?
Was that in that? I just remembered, like, this big nosed, like, almost leprechaun kind of character or something. What am I remembering?
It was about saving the rainforest or something.
Hold on, I need to look up Fern Gully now because I have a mental picture in my head of something, but I don't know what it is. Not Fern Guilty, Fern Gully. Oh yes, okay. It had this like pterodactyl looking thing. Yeah, I never saw this movie. I'm pretty sure I did see a review of it from Nostalgia Critic though. Yeah. Let's see. Sorry, we said we all know what happens to people who don't save, and I said, does Yasha come and leave hair on their pillow? Oh, that's funny. Got it. Yeah, I wish that the comments came in quicker because yeah. But does he leave hair on the pillow? Yeah, probably. Or worse, he'll pee on it, which happened to me twice this week. It was not good. He peed on my stuff twice. I was very unhappy with him. And he tried to butter me up like, treats? I was like, no, Yasha, you don't deserve treats. You peed on my sweatpants, bro. What the heck? Let's see. Although the weird oil monster thing scared me as a kid, I imagine it would. It was a movie about saving the rainforest. It's an Australian movie. Oh, I didn't know it was Australian. Robin Williams as a bat. People say Blue People Avatar is basically Fern Gully. I think I've heard that before, actually. I'm pretty sure I've heard that. Alright. I still don't know how James Cameron was able to stretch that series out to like 3 or 4 different movies. And I still don't understand how they gross so much money. I honestly don't know anyone who saw any of the movies after the first one, and yet it's still grossing billions of dollars. I don't understand. I'm not even saying that the movies necessarily are bad per se. They just weren't memorable. Like, I don't remember much about the first one other than, like, it looked pretty. And I guess that is... that's enough for some people, but I don't know. After like the first go around, you would think people would change their tune, but maybe not. Dances with Smurfs. Blue People Avatar wishes it was Fern Gully. Oh, dang! Those are some sharp words, Manette. Some sharp words. I think the face is just a little too rounded. Doesn't feel like it fits on this body. Let me see, where's my I'm realizing I'm moving a little slower than I would like, but it's whatever. It's my comic. If someone has a problem with it, they can just keep it to themselves. Alright. I'm gonna merge these two layers. Yeah, it went from this to this to this. So I'm just gonna delete this layer because I don't think I need it anymore. Alright, and now we're going to get a little bit cleaner with the clothes. How would I draw a teenage boy? Oh, okay. Basically, okay, so that's a pretty broad question, admittedly, but I'll tell you what, this character right here, he is 15 right here, so he's a teenage boy. So what I would do, I would give him the same proportions as an adult. Let me actually put some clothes on. I would give him the same proportions as an adult, but I would change a couple of things to make him look like he's still in that going through puberty age. One thing is decreased muscle mass. So a lot of times when we draw men, especially like big muscly guys, you know, they'll have like a huge neck or large biceps or something like that. And so I don't do any of that stuff. Actually, if I were to draw him as a full-grown man, I would probably say his neck was out here, and then his arms, you know, be out here. He's covered with clothes, so I can't really show like what his chest would look like. But I would just have larger muscles. So some things that I would do, I would thin out the neck a little bit. I would maybe make him feel a little awkward potentially, like so you can give him bigger hands or bigger feet proportionally. Like Sora from Kingdom Hearts, his feet are massively large and almost comedically large because he looks like a clown. For anyone who doesn't remember Sora from Kingdom Hearts, especially in the first game, I don't know how it was in the other ones, but in the first one it was very obvious. This dude was shopping for shoes that was like a size 17. You know, like look. Oh wait, sorry, TikTok crew. Yeah, look at those shoes right there. That is silly. If someone came to school wearing something like this, you would get made fun of, like legit. Like there's no way you're walking out of that school unscathed. Yeah, I mean, look at this. I couldn't even fit these shoes. I'm a grown man, you know. So you could do things like that. You could thin the neck, less muscle mass, large hands, large feet. Also, give him a rounder face that shows the youth. Definitely don't add like stubble or facial hair. You can also do things like larger eyes too. So really a lot of the things I'm saying kind of comes down to knowing how to draw age and doing that well. But yeah, that's basically how you would draw a teenage boy. And you could say something similar for a teenage girl. You know, definitely some of the anatomy is not going to be as developed as on a full-grown woman, but you can also say like bigger eyes or something. But honestly, a lot of times for young women, they look like their adult selves at like 13 or 14 sometimes. Like there's oftentimes the same height. You know, they might have small differences in like their muscle mass or their voice or something like that, but they're often very similar in a lot of ways. He had some Yoshis. Yeah, he must have. Amar says, my dog is by the front door. He wants to play in the ring more, just like a lab golden retriever always wants to play in water. Yeah. Dogs be dogging, yo. That's just what it is. That is one thing, I will say, that is one thing about having cats that I find nice, is they don't require going outside all the time. But the things that I am still irritated about is the fact that that they can't really be trained all that well. You know, even just something as simple as come here. they will not do it. They just look at you like you're stupid and continue looking at the wall or something, which is like, are you like, I could be offering you a treat or something that you would enjoy, and you just decide to stare at the wall. Like, come on now. So yeah, I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that's about. Oh, something else I just thought about for the teenage boy question. You could also do a lot just by the clothes that they wear. Oftentimes, you know, we expect a teenage boy to have a certain type of wardrobe. So, you know, sometimes it's hoodies and, you know, baggy clothes and stuff like that. And, you know, oftentimes we think of more, you know, more adult characters or characters who are fully grown to have, you know, suits or fitted clothes and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot you can do. I'm slowly teaching Yasha how to dap. That is true. That is true. I haven't tested it out yet, but we're trying to get our cat Yasha learn how to dap because we saw someone do it on TikTok, and this dude was leaving for work, this black dude, and he was like, "All right, man, see you later." And he gave him a dap, and the cat responded, and I was jealous. And so Kathy is taking it upon herself to teach our lovely boy Yasha to do the same. How's he doing with that? He's actually doing pretty well. I haven't tested it out, but it seems like he does it if you offer him a treat. But you know, we will see. I'm not going to test it out now because he's sleeping. He's sleeping. Here, I'll show you guys. You can see in the webcam he's just knocked out. So yeah, maybe he'll wake up at the time the video is or the stream is over. I'm trying to get him to associate with giving me his paw. That's the first step. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Okay, let's continue on. One, two, three, and four. This has slightly larger fingers. Sounds like teaching him to shake. Yeah, it's similar. I mean, it's a very similar movement because, let's be real, he doesn't have thumbs, so it's basically the same movement. You just gotta leave, instead of allowing it to go up and down, you just gotta leave it there is the real difference. Let me move this camera. There we go. Is this a cleanup? No, it's not a cleanup. This is just me penciling in stuff. No, I haven't inked any of the pages. If I were to ink it, it would probably look closer to like this, right? Whoa. Okay, that's not what I meant. Hold on. It looked closer to something like this. This is kind of how I want the finished look to be for my characters. But right now, this is me penciling in. But I try and do as much thinking now as possible so that later on the inking can can just be kind of smooth sailing. If cats had opposable thumbs, they'd probably be the ones in charge. Honestly, that's a little terrifying to think about. You're probably right. I would be pretty irritated, I bet, if our other cat, Hina, had opposable thumbs. It's true. I'd be pretty irritated because she just does stuff. Like, she just finds it fun to jump on my desk all the time where the wires are. She opens the laundry door all the time, and I walk out, and I'm like, is our place haunted? No, it's a cat that's just opened the door. You know, she'll do a bunch of little stuff like that. She'll walk on our record player just because she can. So I had to put a hat on it just to tempt her to not do it. So yeah, there's stuff I'm still learning. I am 11 months into my cat fathering journey. But yeah, I'm still have a ways to go. Amar says cat logic is that they're in charge and we're just here to care for them. I know this because my fiance's cat's like that. Yeah, I could totally understand why. We clean up after them, we do everything for them, you know, and you know, they don't face any consequences because apparently they don't remember these things, which I was shocked by. Like, if you don't correct their bad behavior, they just won't recognize that it's bad behavior that you want to stop, and they'll just be like, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you locking me away? So yeah, my fiance together has 3 dogs, 1 cat, and 4 chickens. We live on a farm, hence the chickens. Ah, okay. I was just watching an Extreme Cheapskates video earlier, and we saw this woman who was trying to save money on groceries by buying a bunch of chickens, and she was like, we'll get 4 dozen, or not 4 dozen, I'm sorry, a half a dozen eggs a day with all these chickens. And they lived in like one of these rich suburban neighborhoods, which is weird because, like, why are you a cheapskate? You're clearly rich. And so they ended up creating like a little mini farm in their backyard. I assume the neighbors didn't care for it very much, but
they got goats too.
Oh yeah, they got goats. That's right. They got goats. My fiance and I have his cat to hide in cabinets, jump out. Oh man, yeah, I don't like when cats surprise me. But to be fair, I surprise them too. I can be a little mean sometimes. We actually ruined a chair because I was curious about it, see if I could spook one of the cats. She scratched it up real bad, but she's okay. She's okay. I don't think she realized it was even me. I just kind of like, boo. And she's like, ah. So yeah. The dog says, this person feeds me, shelters me, and cleans up my poop. He must be God. The cat says, this person feeds me, shelters me, and cleans up my poop. I must be God. Yeah, that must be why they don't listen at all. Rich people hoard money more than poor people. Yeah, I mean, I guess so, yeah.
They also got that $1 million home for like less than half the cost, though.
Oh yeah, that was impressive. Actually, most of the stuff she was doing, I thought was really smart. She figured out how to get a $1 million home to cost $400,000, and I was like, you know what? Teach us your ways, homie. Teach us your ways.
And she has her parents living in the basement.
Yeah.
They also pay rent.
Yeah, it's genius. It's genius. Why not? I actually heard that the introduction of having people move out of the house at 18 is more of an incentive, or it's basically a trap set to get more taxpayers to pay more money, and for, you know, landlords to make more money and all this stuff. Because if you have everyone living in the same house, you don't kick them out when they hit 18. You guys can build wealth together. You guys can do a lot more stuff that way. That's how things used to be. Like back in like Bible times, for example, they would just have an extension on their property and be like, yeah, my son lives right there. This is so you'd have uncles and grandparents and nephews and nieces and grandchildren. They all just kind of live in the same area, and that's why I think they have so many kids. Like you hear about all these people having like 12 kids or 14 kids. They've got a lot of people to work the land. So I understand why you see very few like only children like in the book of Genesis and stuff. If any. I actually don't know if there are any in the Old Testament for that reason. My other dog isn't as needy as the two lab mixes. Well, that's good. No one wants needy pets. Oh yeah, pockets. Little boy needs pockets. I realized that I never drew pockets on the other character, but I don't really care. So he's gonna have pockets. They just aren't gonna be drawn because why do I need to draw them? I think people will be fine. I think they can understand. I saw a video the other day on TikTok, and it was a dog owner showing all the stuff his dog can do, and he was naming some chores that I think 3-year-olds will be confused by. Like he was like, go in the drawer and grab the bottle and throw it in the trash, and the dog just did it with no hesitation. He's like, go in the cage, and he went in the cage. Stand on top of the cage. He got on top of the cage. Roll over. Play dead. Be shy. It was pretty crazy. It was like a recipe in there, just a bunch of different stuff, and the dog was just happy and enjoying life. I always think that's pretty awesome. I don't think I'd have the patience to train a dog that well, but for all I know, that's one of those like attack dogs that has to do certain things on command. It could be one of those dogs that sniff around the airport trying to see if you a junkie or something. So. I wonder if that's really confusing for kids. Like, we're always, like, when you're in the airport and they see one of those service dogs, I always wonder if the kids are, like, depressed because they can't pet the dog. Like, I get why they do it. I'm not even, like, mad at the airport for doing that, but these poor kids are just like, I just see a dog and he looks cute and friendly. And everyone's like, yeah, don't touch him because... I don't know if it's because the dog will just attack or if it's like their nose is suddenly contaminated or something. I guess it's probably that. Like they're probably sniffing something very specific. But yeah, those poor kids don't get to pet the dogs. Let's see. Couple of things off with this. I actually need to address here. I'm gonna have to redraw the shoes because I'm realizing I'm messing up a couple things right here. Feet are actually probably gonna kind of come out this way. Just based on how we're standing. I think it's human instinct to want to pet things. That's probably true. Good way to teach a kid boundaries and to ask before petting. That, I think there's a simpler way to do that, but yeah, you're probably right. German Shepherd, Golden Retriever, Min Pin. I used to have a Golden Shepherd. Not Golden Shepherd, I'm sorry. A German Shepherd. German Shepherd, I'm sorry. He did have some golden locks on him, though. He had some golden locks. That was funny. I promise, guys, I'm much more educated than I sound on a live stream. I just get caught up drawing stuff. That's my dilemma. And for those who don't believe me, I dare you to try it. Go draw live and try and hold a conversation with like 20 people at once and see how well you do. Definitely gonna have to fix those shoes on our character here. Probably too long here as well. Can't see the entire drawing. Yeah, if you like. Working on a comic panel right here. So when you say entire drawing, I'm not sure if you're talking about the panel or the entire page, but I'll show you all three. So here's the entire panel. Here is the page, and here is the spread right here. So working on, this is the last panel that I really have to work on actually in this spread. Obviously I have to go back in and fix the background because it's just a 3D model right now. So I'll go in and do that, but I imagine it's gonna be kind of boring for y'all to watch. Plus I need to define how I want to draw the backgrounds specifically. So it's gonna take some time. Nice, thanks. You were welcome. You were welcome. Appreciate you asking. All right, so we got this, and let me see what facial expression we want to give for this guy. So he's kind of worried. So let's kind of push his brows up. We're just gonna keep it kind of loose because he's in the background a little bit. I don't need to put a ton of detail. Always looks weird when I give him those super thin eyebrows. It's like Michael Jackson from the 80s or something. Gotta be careful with that. And I think even his eyes are a little small here. Okay, he's looking a lot off to the side a little bit, so let me change that up. Just because I can. I have a question. I want to start an art portfolio. Any advice, like what website is best to showcase? Oh, good question. When you say an art portfolio, what do you mean? Are you talking about like for animation or for games or something else? Can you just, I don't want to steer you wrong since you asked me the question. I just want to make sure I understand what you're going for. Character design. Okay, so for character design, I know a lot of people who, like back in the day, it used to be ArtStation, like 5 or 6 years ago. That was the prime thing. I think a lot of people have moved away from it, but and it's mostly because AI has kind of infiltrated. But I think it's still, seen as somewhat respectable. If I were in your shoes, what I would do is I would have a bunch of a bunch of character poses, not necessarily turnarounds, although I would include turnarounds, but I mean things like action poses and like your character doing a bunch of stuff. So here, I'm gonna show you this website. I highly recommend it. It's called Living Lines Library, or livelily.blogspot.com. And if you go on the website, there's all of these projects here, all these shows and movies. So it's got like Cowboy Bebop, and I know for some of you guys it might be hard to see the text. Although I guess I could zoom in. But yeah, we got like Coraline, Cowboy Bebop, Emperor's New Groove, Fantastic Mr. Fox. So it's got a bunch of production design stuff for these movies. So what you can do, let's look at Klaus. Oh, never mind. Let's not. Oh, okay. I guess it wants to work now. All right, so here we go. You go here and you type in or click on character design. And they have a bunch of art that you can look at. So these are kind of the pictures that I'm talking about. So I forget this character's name. Oh, Jesper. His name was Jesper, apparently. So you get to see him acting out all these poses. Like he's a mailman, if I remember correctly. And you see he's pretty jovial. He's fun. You get to see him in different poses, kind of acting out stuff. So I would include a lot of this stuff because even after you do your character design and after it looks really good, you still want to act out the character. So I would recommend doing stuff like this. Anything like these would be great, like seeing him in different outfits like this, or in this case he's got his hair grown out and for some reason he's got a chicken on his head. So things like that are great. We got this grumpy Klaus / Santa. Great stuff here. The other thing I recommend is showing your process somehow. So a lot of the stuff we're seeing here is actually closer to finished production work, but in this case Alva, we can see that she's actually got different types of designs here. What's this called? It's called Living Lines Library, or you can type in livelily.blogspot.com. So livlily.blogspot.com. And you can see that there's a bunch of different character types for her, or early sketches for her. Having your process is going to be really, really important, because when someone is hiring you, they're not just hiring your finished result. They want to see how you come to the conclusions that you did, or come to the final result. So here's another one, Margu. I remember this character. She was super cute. So you see a bunch of examples of her from different hairstyles, different color schemes. Well, okay, maybe not with this character. This pretty much stuck with like reds and blues, but you get to see a bunch of different looks for her. And I think that stuff like this is really helpful. And again, this is just one film that I looked up, but if I go to another spot, let's see, production art. Wait, this is for backgrounds. Hold on. Concept art and model sheets. There we go. Let's find another one. Maybe Kim Possible. Let's do it, Kim Possible. Characters. Let's see. Yeah, so we got our boy Rufus over here. Got some turnarounds. This is something you may, I don't know if people include this actually, but this is a way to draw them for the production team so that they know how to create them properly. Got mouth charts. That's more for animation stuff. So yeah, I would definitely look up sites like this. This is one example. There's another one called Character Design Reference, and it's a very similar website, and they have a bunch of stuff. I think you can look it up. It's more by artist than shows in particular. Like here we got Sam Yang. Oh wait, we actually do have some animation. My Neighbor Totoro's on here. Sherlock Hound, the B movie. Oh, let's look at the B movie art. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we got a bunch of stuff here, a bunch of concepts. So yeah, you just want to include those things. And I recommend tailoring your portfolio to the studio or the job that you're going for, right? If you're working on a project that is going to be hyper realistic, you want to have some more hyper realistic character design, show that you can do that. If you're doing something that's more cartoony, then have that. Obviously, show the best work that you can, and if you have a mix of both, I actually think that would probably be helpful. Let's see, this is literally perfect. I'm tired of searching for references on Pinterest. Oh yeah, Pinterest is not the best spot for it. There's some gems, but it's kind of hard to find. Can I see that the art of Nadia? Well, let me see. Where was it? Art of Nadia, The Secret of Blue Water. Okay, so we'll scroll through that a little bit. Megan says that first B movie one is so cute. That's the guy who did a lot of the How to Train Your Dragon design, I think. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the person, but I did recognize some of the stuff in the art books. Johnny's asking, you ever make your own pitch Bible? Yes, I have made my own pitch Bible before. I've actually pitched my show to some networks before, and I spent like weeks putting it together. So yeah, I have done that. It's actually for this project specifically that I'm working on now. But yeah, it didn't go through, but I'm actually kind of okay with it. They liked the project, which is all that I needed. Oh my gosh, they wow, they have his little cat balls in this design. That is crazy. I can't believe someone actually took the time to think of that. That's wild. But yeah, I'm kind of glad that it didn't go through, because animation as an industry right now is going through such a rough time. And what I have found out is, once you get your show sold to a network, it can go through a lot of difficult stages, and in some cases the show gets on air, but sometimes they also just buy it to get it out of circulation so no one else can buy it. And they can also have the ability to cancel shows before they ever come out, and if they do that, you can't ever work on it ever again because they own it. So considering how everything has been going over the last several years, I'm personally glad that it didn't happen to me, because I would have been devastated if my show had been on the chopping block like that. But anyway, QPie, those are two references that I would give you for character design. And then also just collecting art books is also great. There's tons of art books for movies and shows that are available on Amazon. Just Google them and see. I personally, my collection have Invader Zim. I got Love, Death, and Robots. Obviously, Avatar: Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, which is a hydration check. Everyone, for those who are new, whenever I mention Spider-Man or Avatar: Last Airbender, I gotta do water hydration check. So everybody get your water, drink some water. What else do I have? I have Arcane in my shelf. I know I have the Matrix, but I think that's in my mom's house, so I can't show you guys. But yeah. So yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. I missed a lot of the chat in YouTube. Let's see. Love dogs and toddler speak. Hi, Hina. Oh, please don't jump on the desk. Hi. Hold on. I think she wants me to cuddle with her. Okay. Where do you create your portfolio? Like, is there a website to post on? Oh, that's right. I forgot to answer that question. You can honestly make your own website. So what I have done, I made my own site. And that's mostly because my agent asked me to. Originally, I had it on ArtStation, but I think having your own website is good too, just for professional reasons. So here's my site. You can see the shout box characters. I actually need to update this, especially this one. This is maybe I need to spend some time this week and update it. I haven't been worried about job stuff, industry job stuff, because I just know it's dead out there, so I'm not as concerned lately. But yeah, I just made my own site and I post my character stuff on there. But yeah, I use Wix. I know some people will use Squarespace or whatever. I don't think it really matters as long as you know how to use it. My producer is currently dancing with our cat, and it's very adorable. Gotta make sure the stream runs smoothly. I appreciate that. How did you create your own website? You could just go on Wix, and they'll give you a template, and you can put all your images on there. I mean, that's a whole other stream in itself. But that's something that requires just a certain knowledge of graphic design in a way. But thankfully my wife is a graphic designer, so she helps me with a lot of that stuff. But the best thing I can say for you, just simply, is whatever you do, make sure your website is just simple. Like, make sure that it's something that people can click on and easily understand. Like, for example, on my site, oh no, not that app, not music. I don't want to go on music. I'll show my website again. When you go on it, joemcfoe.com, first off, the first thing it will do is it will load eventually. Hold on, let me refresh. So yeah, the first thing here is it says characters, environments, props and vehicles, and sketchbooks. So it is super clear. You know, just like, oh, I want to see the environments, I'll click on the environments. If I want to see the sketches, I'll click on the sketches, and then all my sketches are there. So make it as simple as possible. Don't have your visitor, your website visitor, guessing all the time. So yeah, I use Wix personally. I'm not necessarily like promoting them per se. It's just whatever. It's just what I found at the time. I don't even think I knew about some of these other ones. I think I used Wix once before, and I was like, I'll just continue with Wix. It's fine. Logan says, "What is up? What up, Logan?" It looks really nice and clean. Appreciate that. Yeah, that was mostly due to my wife making it look very clean. that is an artist hack. If you're an artist and you get married to another artist, they will understand you. So yeah, especially if you guys are like slightly adjacent but different disciplines, it's really awesome. I gotta say. Mars says, I bought an anime clothes and accessories. 1,000 examples of drawing books is helpful. 1,000 examples of drawing books is helpful guide for beginners. Oh, that's cool. Hina is talkative. Oh yes, she is super talkative, especially when she doesn't think anyone else is around. Like if it's just, she has no idea you guys exist. Let's be real. So she'll just be like meow 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 meow. Except her voice is so high pitched, half the time you can't even hear it. She just goes ah. Like that's her meow, and I'm like, what is she doing? Is she like coughing something up? But that's her way of communicating, you know. And it's funny because the cats only meow for certain things. Like Yasha, when he's hungry, he has to meow a lot. Like that, I've never seen Hina meow for food. I've never seen her beg for food. She begs to go in the garage because for some reason she likes to go in there. Oh, is she gonna jump on my desk? No, Hina, don't jump on the desk. All right. Yeah, she just loves to go in the garage because she has little lizard friends and bug friends. We live in Texas, so that's just what's here. But yeah. Kathy says, sponsor us, Wix. Yes, Wix, sponsor us, please. I'll make sure everyone knows about you guys. Writer, artist is pretty great. Yeah, that is a good team right there too. Yeah, so, and honestly, it's cool because by proxy, I'm learning more about graphic design just simply by being here. And so, yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. Where do you look if you need a reference like a fighting or sitting pose? Oh, good question. So I know you said you don't like Pinterest anymore, but Pinterest is a good reference for it. So that's one spot you can go. Oh, my producer has reminded me of another book I will share. Hold on a second. So you guys here on YouTube, you guys all recognize this, Masters of Anatomy, but I have this book here. This is Masters of Anatomy, and it's anatomy, action, and fighting poses. This book is like 700 something pages, and it's just got pose after pose after pose after pose of action. And so it's really, really great. Obviously, some of the more simplified poses like sitting may not be in here as much, but it's very, very helpful. And then this book also has a bunch of artists who drew the figure in their own style. So there's people like, oh, here's my boy Drawholic 1124. It's my mentor, Michael. That's his stuff. We have, let's see, Kim Jung-gi is in this book. We have J. Scott Campbell, Sean Galloway's in here, Jerome Moore, the dude, what's his name? From Kipo. Rad Seacrest is in here. So yeah, it's really, really helpful. And sorry, you two guys, I know you guys can't see the book, but until I figure out how to get both streams on the same platform, this is what it is. I'm sorry. So yeah, books like this are super helpful. So I would just go and try and find that. I also recommend taking poses yourself. Like there's nothing stopping you from going to a friend and saying, hey, I need you to take some pictures for me of me like sitting or me looking like I'm about to punch someone. Alternatively, you could be very specific in your Google searches. You could just be like, I need this, and sometimes you will get it, sometimes you will not. Another thing, if you're using a tool like Clip Studio Paint, you can get a 3D model and you can pose it out. So something like that will help as well. Since you live in Texas, is it hard to find an animation job over there? I live in LA. Oh yeah, that's where I'm from. I'm originally from LA, and actually, since I just got married, that's the reason I moved to Texas. So yes and no. I think from what I understand, everyone's having a hard time in animation right now. Like, it has nothing to do with where you live or anything right now. It's just the industry is struggling, realistically. So like one guy, Steven Silver, he's the guy who designed Kim Possible, who we just looked at a moment ago. He moved to Georgia to teach at SCAD, you know, and I think part of it had to do with the fact the industry is struggling right now. So so that's number one. Number two, LA is an immensely expensive city. I know, because I lived there and I was born and raised there. My whole life was pretty much spent out there except for college. And I don't think it's necessary to live in LA anymore. There are studios in Texas, like Austin specifically has studios coming up. There are some studios in the Dallas area. But the other thing too is animation is not the only industry that needs character design. So if you are dead set on becoming a character designer, then you don't have to stick just to animation. You can consider games. You can consider making your own graphic novel, which is basically what I'm doing. You could teach. There's a bunch of things you can do that are related to character design that don't require you to be in LA. Now, I will say that LA is the main mecca for right now, because that's just how it always has been, right? The last century plus has been Los Angeles dominating the movie market, but things have changed, and even most of the animation jobs are moving overseas if they haven't already. Like, I think most of Moana 2 was done in like Vancouver, there's a lot of people who are trying to do freelance for anime studios in Japan from here in the States. So it really just depends. Itty Bitty says, hi, I'm an art education major. Oh, that's awesome. Well, welcome to the live stream. Yeah, it is kind of sad to hear, and I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that does not mean that I think animation as a medium will die. I just think the way that it has been made is going to be different, and no one really knows what that looks like. The indie scene is making improvements, but I still don't think that they've solved all the issues just yet. There's a lot of concerns when it comes to money and finances and stuff that are still kind of up in the air. Megan says, isn't it kind of questionable to teach at SCAD with the idea to give people jobs when you yourself can't get one? Yeah, that is a... Oh, jeez. Hina, get down. Yeah, she jumped on my desk. It's official. Here, you guys want to see? Oh, no. Here, let's see Hina. Let's bring her on stream real quick. Here. So for the YouTube peoples, here's Hina. Here she is trying to fight me. What are you doing? Get off me. And then for all you guys on TikTok, here's my little cat. She's the one who likes to jump on the desk and try and destroy things. So is this what you want? You just want cuddles? Is that it? Yes, we gotta see Lil Heen. Yes, this is a Lil Heen sighting. It's very rare. She's usually asleep at this point, but she needs to go play with mom. So everyone, hydration check. We got a Lil Heen sighting. This is rare. We got both cats in one video. All right, let me go back to the stream. Ooh, some hair's like floating up in the air. Okay. Yo, is that what it is? Oh shoot, I'm gonna be sneezing. Okay, there might come a day where I have to cancel the stream because I sneeze too much. We will see. No, I'm okay. Thank you though. QPie says, what you're working on right now, is it a personal project or a job you're doing? This is a personal project that is also a job. So I am working on trying to have this be my full-time situation, but it's going to take a while because naturally anything at the beginning is going to take a while. Oh shoot, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I do need this. I just feel her fur on my face. Oh my gosh. Ugh. See, this is why I don't allow the cats on my pillow for this exact reason. Kathy the cat whisperer. Yeah, that's exactly what she is. But yeah, this is a personal project though. To answer your question, I think Glitch Productions is getting there and becoming a professional company. I agree. I think they're doing a great job in setting things up for indie in the future. I just think the challenge is we need more people like that. So finding the money to make animation is the challenging part. So it's like, especially, yeah, how do I put this? If you think about it, the reason why artists have had to go to companies like Disney and Nickelodeon and stuff is because it costs a lot of money to make animation. If you do it yourself, you certainly can, but it takes a long time, and usually the result looks kind of crappy. Now, we obviously have had an advancement in tools over the last couple of decades, right? Like, if you look at Seth MacFarlane's pilot for Family Guy that he did himself, it looks really shoddy, right? There's a lot of issues with it. There's frames that disappear and reappear and all this stuff. But now when you have something like Clip Studio Paint or Procreate or whatever, a couple of people who are dedicated, maybe you even have Blender or something, like the guys who made the movie Flow, like you have a lot more wiggle room to create something that's really great. So I'm not by any means saying that indie is always going to be in this spot, but the challenge is getting people to do things that are that intensive and that time consuming when money's not coming in. So that's why these people relied on studios, because they were like, hey, if you sell us your idea for a show, we will give you the money it takes to make the show, and we even have resources to all the people you'll need for music and for sound effects and for voice acting and for the marketing. We'll get your show popping, and we'll sell toys, and we'll be able to make more money. Like, that's just how it worked. And so now that those studios are kind of drying up, it's going to be a lot more independently driven, I think. But I don't think anyone's quite figured out how to make it work, with the exception of Glitch Studios. And I'm not sure how they built their audience, but I know that is a massive audience, so they have a leg up over a lot of other people. Have I ever worked for a big studio? I've worked at DreamWorks doing character design for a TV project. I don't know if it ever went anywhere, but yeah, I did that. I worked at Netflix for a little bit doing backgrounds for a show called Twilight of the Gods. It was a small freelance project, so it was only like a couple of scenes. And it was weird because their production basically messed up, and they said that it was a 3D. They had 3D assets, but they're like, we need the 2D drawings, and they skipped that phase. So they hired a bunch of people to do the 2D drawings. So I did that for a little bit. Nothing crazy, but yeah, I've worked at those two studios, and I've worked at mobile gaming. But I hated my experience at that job, so I'm not going to bring it up. Let me see. I wonder if the cats can understand her when she meows at them. It's probably speaking gibberish to them. That's why I don't even do like the cute voice like she does. I just talk to them like the normal people, like, hey, get off of there. Hey, come here. Like I don't do that. I don't know what it is about me, but I just don't. Hopefully people follow their lead. I agree. I hope that they do too. How'd you get a job at Netflix? My agent found the people. So yeah. I wanted to work on character design as well, but I low-key feel like my designs suck. So I obviously can't say whether or not they suck because I've never seen them. But I will say this. One of the most important things to have is the right attitude. The right attitude can really make or break a person's skill in terms of like how quickly they learn things. And I have struggled with that. There have been times where I was so frustrated that I could not learn, like my brain would short circuit. So and if you were on earlier, you would have even heard some people trying to correct me because I was it sounded like I was talking bad about myself. So all these things that you are concerned about with character design or any sort of design are learnable. Like, you can learn all these things, and who knows, maybe one day I'll do like a character design like lecture or something on TikTok, and maybe we can discuss it or something. But a lot of it is just simply knowing basic design principles and then knowing your story. Those are the two key things I would say. What was my first job ever like when I was first starting? I assume you're talking about art-related job because I've worked at places that weren't art-related. I was like an intern on this guy's project called Spider Stories for these two brothers. They created this like African fantasy project, not too dissimilar from like what Ianu was doing, but they one of the brothers sat next to me at a lecture, and we got to talking, and I was one of the only black people there, and he was Nigerian, so he automatically kind of he saw someone who looked just like him, and we started a conversation and found out he was a writer and an artist, and he put me on his project for a little bit. This was back in like 2015, so I was like literally a freshman or sophomore in college, and we still connect to this day. Actually, I saw him at Lightbox Expo, and he bought one of my books. He and his brother bought one of the books, so it was awesome. Mark is on. Hello, Avatar. I'll be in the corner resting my eyes. You know what, man? That's kind of a cheat right there. But just for you, just because it's like 5 o'clock in the morning in Kenya right now, I will allow that hydration check. So, got a hydration check, y'all. To answer Megan's question earlier, isn't it kind of questionable to teach at art school when you can't get a job yourself? That is a difficult challenge. I think, first off, I don't know Steven Silver's situation per se. Like he might just be, because I know he's had his school for a while, and he might just want to go into full-time teaching, But it is kind of a struggle even for me. Like the last couple semesters when I was teaching at the school, there were a lot of people who were struggling to find work, and I was like, look, we all are kind of in it. And at the time I was at my mobile gaming company, so I didn't really have the same hurt or the same like challenge in that sense, but I felt for them. I felt really bad knowing that the job market is kind of tricky. So for that reason, I highly recommend everyone just like work on their own projects, build their own stuff, and just see what happens. Actually, Steven Silver, the same one I brought up, he said that this is the age of creative entrepreneurs, is what he said. So don't allow the situation with these studios, because they can't figure it out, determine your ability to create something. Like, I think that's one of the biggest lessons. You kind of have to be like Thanos in a way. Like, you guys remember Thanos? I forget which movie it was. It might have been the first Avengers, or it might have been the second. I don't know, but there was a moment in the end credits where he was like, fine, I'll do it myself. And that's kind of the attitude we're just going to have from now on. Kathy says, also, Jordan, maybe he saw the 1/3 Nigerian in you. Oh, yeah, that's right. I took my ancestry test. I'm a third Nigerian. I'm 10% Mali. I'm like 2% Icelandic and 1% Spain. Like, I saw all the stuff. I'm basically 20% European, and the rest is all Africa. So it's pretty awesome. I gotta say. I'm having such a hard time finding internships. How do you balance working in education as well as studio projects with companies? So, okay, about the internships, I also struggle with internships. That one was a really kind of a random situation, because the guy just happened to sit next to me. Like, I didn't do anything to earn that per se. I was just not weird, and he sat next to me. So in that situation, that's kind of how I got that. But the rest of my college experience, I didn't get internships at all. And honestly, most of the people I know who did get internships had some sort of nepotism angle to it. So I'm not saying that's always the case, but do what you can. If you can find your own clients, I'm not saying they have to be for big studios, although that would be nice. You could go on, Upwork or something and find people, even Facebook Marketplace. How do you balance working in education as well as studio projects with companies? The studio projects have really died down for me, honestly. No one's really hiring that much, so I haven't had to worry about that as much. But what I did do when I was working at my game company, or the mobile gaming company, and I was teaching, First off, they didn't like that very much. They were like, we own you, we own your time after work hours, and I was like, F you. And so I taught anyway, and so I would just do it after work hours, honestly. And so that's kind of how I would handle that, and it worked for a while. As honestly, there was like a semester or two where I didn't even have to say anything to them because I didn't have like any night meetings. Because occasionally they wanted us to meet with the team in China, which I thought was generally kind of useless for me because I was because of the specific role that I had. But that's beside the point. So yeah, but as far as balancing, I would say this: if you have a situation where you are doing both and you have to pick the one that's the most fulfilling. At a certain point, what I've learned is sometimes the money just isn't worth it. Like, I'll give an example, and this is gonna call for another hydration check, so get ready. 100 people quit on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Okay, 100 people quit, which means despite how high profile the project was, despite how revolutionary it was, or whatever you want to call it, 100 people were miserable, at least, because they're working like 16-hour days, 6-7 days a week, and sometimes it's just not worth it, you know. So if you don't really care to work in the industry, and some people are not well equipped to work in the industry, not necessarily they lack skill to work in the industry, but they're just might not be well equipped, meaning that they may not like it. And honestly, I didn't really like a lot of the experiences I had working in industry either, because a lot of the projects I hated. Like, a lot of the stuff that I did, I didn't care for. And I'm one of those people, I realized, that has a hard time faking it. Like, I cannot fake it when I don't like something. And that goes with everything. And, you know, for that reason, it's a lot easier for me to just teach sometimes. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, personally. But yeah, good questions, though. Megan says internships have basically been hunted to extinction. Yeah, that is also true. There's very few people I know currently who are getting internships, and I also don't know your age. I don't know if you're trying to find internships in you know, certain industries or what. But honestly, like, the whole economy is struggling. So it might not even be you, and chances are it's not. It could just be the situation sucks, and I hate to be like that, but it's something that I have to try and remind myself of whenever I get discouraged. Is like, oftentimes a lot of these things is not about us individually. Sometimes it can be, you know, there's definitely a such thing as getting blacklisted, but I'm certain you're not blacklisted because you're looking for internships. Like, there's no way that someone has blacklisted you when you're looking for an internship. Otherwise, they just suck as the person. You wouldn't want to work for them anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't try to worry about that too much. Mark says, I thought I saw you mention you had DST. Why am I 100 minutes late? DST usually works in my favor if you can call waking up at 5 instead of 4. Did I say that? I could have sworn on Discord that I said 7 CST. Let's see. Oh, daylight savings. Oh, okay. I thought he was talking about Central Standard Time with a typo. My bad. Amara says tariffs are lifted in USA for out-of-country items. I'm excited about it. Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that. That's awesome. Itty Bitty says thanks. Yeah, I know it's a struggle. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that has to be the case. But yeah. But don't give up, though. Don't give up. There is a solution. There's a solution. We just have to get creative and figure it out. And that's the strength of an artist, right? An artist's strength is that they are creative thinkers. And there have been plenty of people in this situation before us who have also fought through it. So it may not be the best timing right now, but there's also, I believe, great innovations coming soon. So that's my positive spin on the situation. Let's see. Oh man, it is almost 9 o'clock already. I might wrap up soon. But I'm feeling better now, so who knows? Maybe I'll go for an extra 20 minutes or something. I usually try to keep my streams to about 2 hours, but I don't know. Been working on this page for the entire time. I thought I was gonna do more panels, but I think it became more complicated because there's 2 characters and they're both full body shots. And there's still quite a few fixes I can make to, especially this character on the right, but that's alright. Texas Daylight Saving starts the stream at 3 a.m. Oh geez, I'm sorry. I thought it would have been later because we're an hour later, but we pushed an hour later, but yeah. Yeah, Mark, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I can't move back to California though. Just so yeah, you can watch the replays, man. Watch the replays until we figure out another solution. Because I'm trying to think a time that would be convenient for you would probably be what if it was like 6 p.m. for you. What would that be for us? Like, it had to be early in the morning, I assume. Yeah, and my wife / producer won't let me stay up super late anymore, so I gotta go to bed at a certain time now. On the bright side, I got 2 commissions and made $60. Hey, that's awesome. That is awesome. That is a win right there. That is a win. That makes you a professional artist. Even if it's only $60. Nothing wrong with that. Congratulations. I feel like we need to make another stream time for Mark. That would be nice. That would be nice. Let me ask you this, Mark. What would be a good stream time for you? He said it's all good as long as you have fun. What would be a good stream time for you? Because maybe we can work something out. Maybe we can work something out. Got my professional badge on. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. By the way, Megan, I know that you sent me something like a tool to kind of color in characters real quick, but it didn't work for me. So I don't know if there's another solution. I just remembered it because I'm doing this right now. So jealous of Clip Studio Paint users. Why? Why are you jealous? You can get it too, can't you? Or Procreate's another great alternative too. Very cheap. It used to be Photoshop, and then Photoshop decided to go crazy on people. But yeah. Megan says, "Are you busy? Right after this, I'll show you." No, you can reach out. We can figure it out. I use Procreate. Oh, okay. Well, Procreate is a great tool. I use that as well, so I understand. You can get Clip Studio on your iPad too, I believe. But yeah. But anyways, guys, I decided. I was thinking I would go longer, but then I thought about it, and I'd be starting a brand new panel, and when I just kind of wrap this one up, so we're gonna wrap in a second. But I do want to show you guys the Shadowboxers website. This is the project that I've been working on. So if you guys are curious, let me make it a little smaller for y'all TikTokers. If you do want to check out the project, it's shadow-boxers.com. And we have a lot of cool stuff here. We have a little bit of the story on here. You get to see the different characters. You only saw 2 in the stream. You only saw Javen over here and Zalam over here. We have a concept art gallery. We also have a pop-up of Kayla. Here we go. We have a Discord community if you want to check that out. It's completely free. You can also go to our shop where we have things like an art book, a special art book here. We have some shirts and hats and things like that. None of it is on the TikTok shop because I think I have to have certain qualifications for that. But if you are curious, go to shadow-boxers.com. You can also sign up for the free newsletter and I'll send updates there. Sometimes I'll send like a special code for the store. Happens on occasion. I did one for Black Friday. I think I did one for my birthday a few months ago as well. And then here's some more concept art, including at the very bottom, our fan art gallery. So if you guys want to check that out, feel free. Anybody says, I tried Clip Studio, made 2 drawings, never used it again. I understand. It can be quite a bit of a learning curve for people. But anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the stream. Thank you for tuning in with me, and I will see you all next time. Peace.